The toughest part for me was
So, guys, today we have Dain Walker on the show. And let's talk a little bit about Dain. Rewinding back to the end of 2019, Dain was broke, in debt, and busy as hell, working a job that he hated and struggling to get by. Taking to Instagram, he started to share his thoughts and ideas, simplifying complex topics such as sales. What we got design, brand strategy, marketing. People started to take notice, and I think we can all agree, Dane, that you share probably the best carousels on the entire of Instagram. And we're not talking just the design, but it's the way that you're able to present complex information and condense them for people, for anyone to understand. And let's fast forward to today. Dain is now running an incredibly successful seven-figure agency. Dain, welcome to CEO Sphere's 2-minute one question podcast. It is a pleasure to have you here.
thanks, man. I love the format. It's cool. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So Dain, here is the one question that our audience has selected for you. So obviously, as Robbie mentioned in the introduction, you've had quite the journey. You've not always been where you're now, right? So what we want to know is, what was the toughest part of your journey and how did you overcome that situation?
Yeah, good point, man. The toughest part for me was moving from, I guess, concept to action. And what I mean by that is when I decided, okay, I want to start an agency, it's kind of hard to go, well, where do I start? Like, what do I do first? The first thing I did is I wanted accountability. So I purchased software. I purchased a year's worth of software, which kind of forced me to make a painful decision to spend money on something that I would regret if I didn't use it. So I very much like capitalizing on as much accountability pressure for myself as I can. I do well under pressure personally. So yeah, I bought a lot of things. I committed, I made the decision, and I decided that I was going to make content. I just didn't know what. So I spent, a good amount of time, reading, researching, Googling, YouTubing, and just kind of seeing what existed in the world, and decided that I'd start, creatively posting carousels. I was inspired by Chris Do and Michael Janda and a few others in the community. And I really liked how they were sharing complex ideas in a swipeable format. I decided that I would start posting them. And I remember going to work that week, and people at work were just baffled. They're like, what are you doing with your Instagram page? Like, they were like annoyed about it. They're like, what's the deal? And I remember walking into the back room of the workplace I was in, and I overheard a conversation from the managers saying things like, oh, he thinks he's some type of guru or something. And they were kind of laughing about it. That was really hard. But at the same time, it was a really pivotal moment. I really, in that moment, felt alienated. I felt that people in my world didn't understand me. They didn't appreciate me. And they didn't know my story. They didn't know why I was doing it. Nobody came up to me and said, hey, man, like, why did you start doing that? It was like, what are you doing? And kind of like a condescending, like, what's the deal, man? Like, who do you think you are? How dare you? But, luckily I understand enough about human psychology that if you're listening to this and you're in an environment, in a situation where people don't understand you, they don't get you, it's human nature to kick those out of the tribe who act different to the tribe. So if you think about human history, if you look at horses, like if you look at a cluster of horses, if one horse starts acting different to the other horses, the alpha horse and the other apex horses in the group will start biting and bullying that one horse to get back in line. As soon as the horse gets back in line, it's okay. So there is that pressure from whatever society group cluster that you're in. If you start behaving in a way that they deem threatening, or they deem weird, or they deem obscure, well, they're going to pick on you. They're going to make fun of you. Little did they know, though, these people I worked with, they had no idea of my ambitions. They had no idea of, the fact that before I got a job there, I was trying to buy a gym. Before I got a job there, I did MLM and recruited 2,500 people into network marketing in a period of like 2 years. So I think I'd spoken on stages in front of 5,000 people. I've read, probably 300 books or more. Like, I'm obsessed with learning. So again, like if you're in a situation and people around you don't get you, that can feel difficult, and that can be disheartening, and that can stop you in your tracks. Or you can realize and acknowledge, hey, it's okay. It's just that's where they're at, and that's not where I want to be at. So let me remove myself from this ecosystem and find a new one. So finding a new ecosystem meant that those that are around me at that time, they weren't feeding into my life. They weren't pushing me to do more things. They were just trying to get me to hang out, chill out with them, and do things. So I think the most difficult thing was plucking myself out of that ecosystem and moving myself into a new environment where I was around hustlers, business owners, and their friends. They care about me. Like my circle of influence right now are like people that run 7-figure companies, and they're amazing, and they're always helping me out. So it's tough. It's tough to change your friendship circle, and you have to be willing to let go and welcome new things. So yeah, hopefully that helps.
Well, that was, hey, if we were to choose one answer that we wanted from you, it would probably be this one without knowing about the rest of the answers.
Thanks, Dan.
I feel like you pretty much covered everything that an entrepreneur needs in precisely 2 minutes. Hey, it's all about, that is the reality that you are speaking right there. And it's awesome to also hear some of the influences that you've had, and how you overcame precisely something that I think many entrepreneurs struggle with, especially when they're starting, because obviously right now that you're successful, those people are probably not laughing and having conversations because behind your back. So the initial stages are always the tough ones, and it's great having you here to summarize and speak the reality for many people.
Thanks, man. I know it's only 2 minutes, but just to add more context to that, it's the uncomfortable conversations are the ones that entrepreneurs have. If you look at the way entrepreneurs, and I don't mean a kid that's 21 that has a Lamborghini that's flexing a watch. I'm talking about like proper like business folk, like those that run and operate a team, those that have money that work for them. I'm not talking about running a click funnel and making $1 million. I'm talking about legitimate like businesses that function. And I don't have anything against those people, but the point I'm getting to is like when you hang out with those people, they have real raw conversations. And these are the conversations that you need to have. You need to ask yourself, am I in the right circle? Probably not. If I'm spending all my time around these people and they're tearing at me already, well, guess what's going to happen if I become even more successful and do even more things? If I start a podcast, they're all going to laugh at me even more. So like you want to take yourself out of those dangerous environments and put yourself in an incubator where people are going to take care of you. You got to be willing to make that change.
Yeah, so absolutely. And I feel like when we have ambition does kill many friendships, right?
Yeah, dude, definitely. Yeah.
It's the one thing that I've noticed is like, hey, if you speak about your goals and your goals are big enough for them, it doesn't matter. It's just gonna kill some friendships because they just won't see it as reasonable. And as you say, it's something that I'm really passionate about is, human psychology. Most of the people, they just feel threatened and they're just going to go against you without even questioning, hey, but Dain, why are you doing that? So I think it's something that I absolutely loved about what you said. So once again, Dain, thank you very much. And for everyone listening, you can find Dain on Dain Walker on Instagram. He'll pop immediately. He has nearly 250K now. So, it's only reasonable that he's on the top list when you type Dain Walker. And you will probably learn a lot with him. That I say from my heart as someone who does learn myself. So thank you.
Thank you guys. Again. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.